Point, like, there'll be people that, like, they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that, which I kind of like. But he's like, oh, well, we kind of need the...
That's kind of... Isn't that like a contradictory right there? Okay, guys, so we're going to be watching The Political Grift is Over by American Redact. He's going to showcase a lot of these comedians, the podcasters that aligned themselves with Trump, and now they're realizing that it probably wasn't a good idea to align yourself with one of the most politically blatant liars out there, right? In the whole government, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of a stretch. I don't know. Who can top president, right? I'm pretty sure he's gonna say, I'm one of the best liars. You're never gonna see anybody like me. You know, some people say I'm one of the best liars that there is. Nobody knows how to lie. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna be watching this video because a lot of these guys that endorsed Trump and brought Trump to the podcast scene are now having buyer's remorse and now are seeing the errors of their ways. Right, so we're gonna be going through this video, and yeah, I'm gonna be doing some commentary, and it's gonna be fun, right? Because these guys should have never done this sort of pivot to politics. You know, should have stuck to comedy, brother. Because now you are fully cooked, and now people are seeing you guys, all of you guys, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schulz, Theo. You guys are sort of the reason why Trump was elected, right? Probably their support for Trump probably got him elected and made him win the presidency, is what people sort of see that as. So we're going to go through this video by American Redact. All right, let's start it.
Point, like, there'll be people that, like, they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that, which I kind of like. But he's like, oh, well, we kind of need the...
That's kind of... Isn't that like a contradictory right there?
People working in restaurants, and we need our farmers. It's like everything that he said that he was going to do that he campaigned
well, he
really
said to us, which was important.
All right, so after about 5 short months of Trump being president, the podcast bros and the Rogan sphere are already backpedaling on voting for him and publicly supporting him.
I also like it that it's only been a couple months, and now they're like, oh shit, it hasn't even been a full year, and this man has created chaos since day one.
On their podcasts to hundreds of millions of voters in America. Like, as you just saw, Andrew Schulz is completely baffled by what Trump has done in office since being elected, claiming he voted for none of what Trump has been doing. Let's not forget that this is the same guy who was all giddy and excited at the thought of his podcast swaying the election after their Trump interview.
It's not close anymore. Is that the energy y'all felt?
You're a prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, you really are.
We know that about me.
Right.
We know that about me.
Before Trump came on, you're like, yeah, it could go either way. It's very close.
No, before he came on, I was like, he don't got a chance. I was like, he's coming on here. He got to be down bad. He got to be down. I mean, no, we're the best. He got to be down bad. And then after the interview, obviously we saw the reaction.
And you got 20 or 25 text messages, and you were like, this guy's winning.
Yo, listen, it wasn't the 20 or 25 text messages. You know what it was? It was the looks on the street.
So yeah, very idiotic.
It was based on vibes. Like this, like also, well, the smartest thing that Trump did was to go on to podcast and promote himself, right? A lot of people said that to Kamala, and she should have done that more, and I think it would have helped her out. But since Trump did it, and also J.D. Vance did it, it did sway the election. I think it got more people to vote that were younger, and Andrew Schulz saw maybe like the backside of it and how the numbers were doing, and maybe getting all these new people into his show, and he kind of like was blinded by the money, and like how American Redact said, he was also previously talking a whole lot of shit about the previous administration doing the worst job, and now as you know, politics, how it goes is like, all right, we're done with you. You've been in the office, now we need a Republican. And then now we're done with Republican, now we need a Democrat. And then we're done with a Democrat. It goes like that. It goes back and forth, right? And he fell into that.
Chaotic stuff coming from the Flagrant podcast, as always. But honestly, you can't blame Andrew Schulz for behaving this way. Because after all, he's just following the Joe Rogan blueprint as he's done since the very beginning. Joe Rogan was the guy who made this Waluigi look-alike so successful. He's the guy who inspired Andrew to start a podcast. And he's the guy who probably set up the Donald Trump interview. So if you're gonna point fingers at this stuff, point them at the guy who they're standing in the very short, 5'5" shadow of at best, Joseph 250 Rogan. Joe Rogan is also shocked at Donald Trump doing exactly what he said he was going to do, as he was just criticizing Donald Trump and his immigration policies in a recent podcast he did, calling these policies insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
We were told there would be no... Well, there's two things that are insane. One is the targeting of migrant workers. Not...
Well, what did you not understand when he said he was going to have a mass deportation, right? Like, do you think all these immigrants that he was going to kick out were all criminals? Like the majority, like how many they are? Like, I don't know, a rough estimate of how many immigrants there are in the U.S. Like, they're all criminals? No, like most of them, the majority are people that work. Like, you know, in what do they call them? What do they call it? What was that word they're using? COVID. Essential workers. They were essential workers, and now they're getting kicked out because, hey, guess what? They're racist. Okay, and then this is what I think is going to happen too, is that they're going to see all the money that they're losing because you think white people are going to be working in the fields. You know, they're going to be picking cherries, picking strawberries, picking lettuce or whatever it might be. And, right? Like, no, we got, they're going to get jobs as streamers and YouTubers. You think they're going to be working out there? No. They knew Trump was a liar, a habitual liar, and they fell for it. Like, come on, dude. Like, are you going to really think that Trump is the one that's going to be honest with you and, you know, like, do great things? No.
Not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers showing up in construction sites and raiding them. Gardeners.
Yeah.
Like, really?
And so the buffoonery has gotten so bad that even Hulk Smash himself, Mark Ruffalo, had to call Joe out for this in a tweet he made the other day, saying it's a little late now to pretend like Project 2025 didn't exist all along. You're either not that smart or not that dumb. It's hard to tell at this point, which I must say is pretty on the money. I mean, there were Trump supporters waving enormous mass deportation signs at every one of Trump's rallies leading up to this election. So for Joe Rogan to act this way, especially after having Trump on the podcast, is absolutely mindless. And mind you, that was likely Rogan's largest podcast of all time. So now for him and his army of unfunny goons to take no accountability is very, very dumb. And
yeah, like I was saying before, he saw the numbers come in and he's like, wow, he must be really popular. Look at all these viewers, you know. And also, Joe for a long time has been saying like the Democrats, they're the worst, and California's the worst, and Texas is awesome, and blah blah blah. And you know, like, he moved to Texas and they're still trying to ban THC and also CBD, and it's like, oh yeah, like, these guys are the ones that really want you to be, they're really for freedom and freedom of speech. And you see this shit now, how it's going. Anything you try to say anything bad about Trump or JD Vance or anything else, you're gonna get kicked out. If you're an immigrant or you got a green card, they're gonna revoke it, or either they're gonna deport you for being a construction worker, and you're not gonna get houses. But I guess maybe Joe was not looking at that, and he was like putting on his blinders on. You know, cherry picking the issues that he wanted to be fixed, right? Yeah, that's what it probably is.
Honestly, pretty characteristic of the Rogan sphere.
Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Do you regret it?
A lot of people made a big deal that I did say that I regretted it the other day. Look,
It's almost like podcasters who have zero knowledge of anything outside of locker room humor shouldn't get involved in politics, let alone invite them onto their huge platforms and have them push whatever narrative they want while giving absolutely zero pushback to anything that they have to say. And the Rogan sphere has gotten so political now that some of the comedians inside of it are speaking out about it. Like when Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, and Yanni Pappas all came to the conclusion that comedy podcasts should have never turned political on a recent episode of Bad Friends.
It makes me happy to know that this show is still as stupid as it's always been from the beginning, because I see a lot of our podcast pals or people in our sphere that are taking these shows to a level that we don't go to.
Which is what?
Well, they're all having like politicians on.
Journalists.
Tim got fucking interviewed by like CNN.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we stay here.
Same with hyena.
They the probably like my thought of the reason why they did it is because they were feeling influential, right? They have this power now, and like how Uncle Ben says, with great power comes great responsibility. And these podcasting comedians, they don't know shit about politics. They don't know the details, right? They only know the bro politics of it. The bro science. It's all based on vibes, and it's not really based on actual proof. Because if you knew Trump, like all these things, all these court cases, all these things that he got, charged with and accused, and he said that he's grabbing women by the what, but that didn't persuade you to not vote for this guy and also not think that he's a terrible, disgusting person, right? Like, did you not see that?
We stay right here.
Yeah.
And I saw that they had Bernie on Schulz's show.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
He's not coming here.
Bernie?
Yeah, we had David Mamet.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute too. Look, American Redact, you might have forgotten that Bobby Lee, maybe not on Bad Friends, but he got RFK. He invited RFK, right? And I think maybe Bobby's sort of like not putting his 2 cents in there because he knows that in the back of his mind he's like, wait, I did put somebody that was trying to run for president, right? Because RFK was trying to run for president, and he had him on the podcast with Cheryl, his wife from Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? And it was sort of it was funny interview, but it was still weird at times. And then also, I think he also like Bobby. I think Bobby realized that bringing RFK on was a bad idea, and he skipped an invitation from RFK because he wanted him to be in one of these on one of these campaigns, right, or comedies for these politicians or something. I don't know what it was really, but he didn't show up, and it's funny for them to talk about it because I remember that he had an RFK in it, so Bobby is not completely innocent on that part.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but that's rad.
We got people that they can't get.
Yeah.
No, it's not that they can't get him.
Well, they can get him.
Yeah.
But we got him too.
I just don't think we want politicians
No.
on the show.
No.
It's getting a little muddled, right? It's getting a little. What's going on?
I just think podcasting, comedy podcasting is entering this world of like news or something.
Yeah.
And people are taking it serious. And it's not.
Well, there was an article after the election about how legacy media doesn't have the, power it once had, and that podcasting is now, you know what I mean, replacing some of that, you know.
That's not good.
Yeah,
We shouldn't replace it. This should be its own thing.
Yeah.
This is its own form of music.
They then go on to make a...
Yeah, that is true, because what Bobby says is like, hey, we're a bunch of idiots. We shouldn't have you guys influence an entire election for, you know, and this guy or these people to, you know, make you guys vote for them and then ultimately be the ones to pivot or sort of guide them on a winning path, because all you just based your feelings on the presidency were vibes at the time, that because you didn't like certain things that the Democrats did, right, or the Republicans did, you know.
Fantastic point when they say that they simply don't know enough to have politicians onto their podcasts, which is very refreshing to hear these comedians admit to, since the guys that do have politicians on seem to think they're the second comings of Pythagoras or Aristotle.
We also, I mean, you probably know more than me, probably, but I don't know much.
In the world?
Yeah.
I only know what I read this morning.
Yeah, so me too. So my point is that we don't know enough to have these people on. We are goofy.
Yeah.
It's a comedy podcast.
Imagine Bernie Sanders coming. He's like, it's great to be here. And Bobby's like, what does your penis look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say.
That would be funny, though. That would be fire. I love Bernie. And Bernie's the realest guy out there. Out of all these politicians, Bernie actually wants to do good. And we'll call them out. But, like, Bernie has always been pushed away from being in that position of power because they don't want to give the people what they give their taxes to. Like, they give their taxes to the government and they use it for something else. And Bernie, on the other hand, wants to give power to the people, unlike all these other politicians, especially Trump, who is a businessman, right? Businessmen don't really ever want to do the best things for the people. They're usually always trying to screw people over for a gain, and also for, you know, for them to enrich themselves and still keep the poor, right? Because if you give these people more power, how are they going to buy a third or fifth or sixth or seventh yacht or a boat or a mansion or their 10th or 15th or 20th house, right? But no, you want the bad guy.
Say that. Why you are your fucking mind? Why would I say that?
What would you say? I'm Bernie Sanders.
I go to your political. I don't know, but my point. I wouldn't say that about your dick.
You get to penis somehow.
Is your asshole gray?
See?
Okay, that'd be one of them. Yeah, you're right.
Is it though?
It brings big numbers, right? That's probably why people do. Because everyone's like talking. It didn't used to be this way. It didn't used to be everyone was into politics. Now even kids are into politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was like 12, I would just be like, smell my fingers.
Very refreshing to hear a comedian.
Wait, did he say, smell my fingers? All of them? Okay, Yanni. You got the old, this technique, or what's up with that? What the hell? That was a Freudian slip there.
In the orbit of Joe Rogan confess that they're just comedians and not knowledgeable enough to have the types of guys on their podcasts like Andrew Schulz, Joe Rogan, or even worse, Theo Vaughn. And speaking of Theo Vaughn, he now might just be the biggest political puppet in the Rogan sphere, larger than, dare I say it, Papa Toe. And man, do I have a lot of stuff to say about this guy, but I'll just...
Also, one of the biggest dummies, or on-screen dummies, or portrays himself as being a dummy, and he's got higher numbers than, I think, Bad Friends and Andrew Schulz, right? So his audience is a real big what's it called? They're a real big influence in the election if they do go out and vote for him, right?
Just round it all up by saying that he is much worse than you think he is, and he's just hiding behind his stage act, which is him just improving as this curious hillbilly from Louisiana who says random things. In reality, guys, Theodor von Kurnatovsky comes from a line of deeply influential and successful Polish politicians, and some of his relatives are pretty shady individuals. Like, I'm pretty sure one of his close relatives was assassinated in Louisiana a few years ago, which everyone just assumes was staged as him unaliving himself, since he actually owed millions of dollars to people who lent him money.
The former owner of Tipitina's Music Club has died at the age of 68. Roland von Kernatowski reportedly shot himself during a hunting accident. Eyewitness.
Oh my God! Did you hear that? He shot himself, guys. Nothing to see here. You know, I have not heard about this ever. I never heard about Theo Von's father, you know, getting shot by his dog or something. Like, that's I mean, that's actually a real thing, but that's crazy. I've never heard about, you know, Theo Von's dad and the aspects of his influence, right?
Investigator David Hammer recently reported on allegations he took millions of dollars from investors.
Von Kernatowski was primarily a real estate developer building widely praised projects like the Orpheum Theater. But in the last 2 years, Von Kernatowski's financial life was unraveling. He split with partner Eric George, bounced checks to performers, and was sued by investors who gave him millions of dollars for treasury bonds, only to learn the money was tied up in his real estate projects. And this year, the FBI began questioning the investors about where the money went.
And so I have a lot to say about Theo Von, because I think that he tries his very hardest to stay away from any criticism. Like the reason you never see P Cringe, Too Lazy to Try, Comedy Enforcement, or anyone in this category make a video about him is because he has the strictest copyright butts out of all of the comedians we cover. I mean,
that is true. Like, whenever I had a chance to make a video about Theo, like, you have to really do some magic on his clips to get that shit passed through, because like you know, they always be saying like freedom of speech and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this guy, one of the most blatant, habitual line steppers there are, and he hates criticism. And it's annoying, bro. It's annoying because this guy, you know, he makes himself seem stupid, but he really knows what's happening sometimes, right? And he hates that. He hates that there might be some stuff that come out about him, and he doesn't want the heat, because look at like the numbers that he makes. And yeah, like, you know, Podcast Cringe and all these other guys, Too Lazy to Try, they don't do that because of they just can't fight the copyright shit, and they're just, you know what, it's gonna just keep getting copyright claimed, or I'm gonna get a copyright strike, and, you know, whatever, you know, it's gonna be more of a fight to do that, and it's honestly, it's annoying. And this is one of the things that I wanted to speak about, but I knew I was gonna get shut down for it because it's Theo Von and he's super popular and people just love whatever he does. But this is one of the aspects of it that just pisses me off, and that's why for the most part I stopped listening to Theo Von, because yeah, like, I think he's a little fake. He's such a fake dude sometimes.
They literally banned anyone from seeing even a clip from his show in another video, which is pretty much illegal since all these videos fall under fair use. So as innocent as he paints himself, he's actually terrified of any sort of negative review. I mean, just look at the way he scurries away from Andrew Tate and the Nelk Boys after the Nelk Boys ambushed Theo with the idea of having Tate on Theo's podcast.
Andrew, you gotta do Theo's podcast.
Yeah, we should talk about how you thought about it.
That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, I got enough emotional issues at the moment.
But Theo gets away with everything.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't know until he doesn't.
Tell me about it.
Welcome to America, dude. I don't know how long they're letting you stay.
Yeah,
but
me neither. Glad to be back.
And so, as shitty as it was to ambush Theo with someone as controversial as Andrew Tate, him scurrying away is very telling of how he's so protective of his image. I'd also like to add that when he pushed that dude by his neck in a random bar in Nashville, everyone and their mothers came to Theo's defense before ever hearing the other side of the story. So I'm just going to share his side of the story with you guys right now to let you be the judge on whether this guy deserved physical violence or not.
Hey, I'm the fan who got choked out by Theo Von. Let me tell you what actually happened. So I'm not just a random fan. I live in Nashville. I play music full time. That's me. All of this happened on May 2nd. You can see right there. Which also happened to be my birthday. I had my gig from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. My friends brought me cake, they brought me balloons, the bar brought me sparklers. So when Theo walked in, he didn't have any security with him, so people were walking up to him, talking to him, taking photos. I finished my show. This was like 10:18. Nobody in my party had talked to him yet, not even me. We thought it would be a funny video idea to get him and me popping my birthday balloons together because he's a comedian. I was trying to be courteous because he was talking to somebody at the moment. So in this next video, you can actually hear me say, I don't want to interrupt their conversation. I was waiting my turn to talk to him. Everybody was all just standing around having fun, having a good time. Nobody was bothering anybody. I mean, I'll show you the full video. That's the guy I was waiting for, who I didn't want to interrupt.
So this guy was being very courteous. He was, waiting his turn, and he was gonna he was gonna ask Theo Von, hey, can we make a video and make it seem like you're trying to pop my balloons and blah blah blah, and then let's see what happens next.
This is where the video that you've seen starts. I went up and I said, will you pop some balloons with me? He turned away and looked like I said something offensive. I leaned in and said, hey man, I'm a fan, I'm just messing with you. He turned back around and then aggressively got in my face right there. I was confused, so you can see me lean in and say, what? And that's when he grabbed my throat and shoved me back. What happened?
Like, the worst thing he could have just said was no. For this guy, fucking Theo, freaking grabbed him by the throat like fucking Kane, And come on, Theo, what's up with that? Maybe the girl he was trying to talk to, he was trying to get her number or something, and Theo was like, back off, man. And then Theo's fucking idiotic thing, I don't know, that's a pretty red flag. If I was a girl and I saw that shit, I'd be like, what a freaking maniac. Come on, I thought Theo was cool.
What happened was a completely uncalled for reaction, especially when you consider the facts that nobody in my party had been badgering him for hours. We hadn't even talked to him. This was a 14-second interaction, and that was it.
So I'm not entirely sure if I support this guy or not, as his story likely has a lot of holes in it, but I really don't think that what he did called for a shove to the throat. But do let me know what you guys think of that down below. Anyways, getting back to the point of this...
This is the thing also, did he really say, hey, dude, pop my balloons and we'll make a joke out of it? And then Theo was like, what? You want me to look like an asshole, man? Is that what you want me to do, man? And then he was like, get the fuck off of me. And then he made himself look like an even bigger dick. And then, I was thinking maybe also too, at first when I saw this video, I thought that it was a gag. I thought it was a rip or something from Theo. But now hearing it from the guy that actually was there and giving his point of view of it, it seems a little crazy that Theo Von did that. All things considered, that Theo Von is apparently a pretty cool guy, and this interaction was pretty crazy to do.
Video, Theo Von also reacted negatively to one of Trump's decisions after seeing the mass casualties in Palestine, where he then proceeded to cry about it on his podcast only a few days after being buddy-buddy with the entire family that sends Israel billions of blood money.
That's crazy how, Theo Von, I guess he might be, what do they call him, a Nepo baby? With Ivanka, right? And her husband, Jared Kushner, right? How much influence do you have to get a date with these motherfuckers, right? There are some things swirling in my head about this situation, but goddamn, Ivanka is pretty hot, but what? Oh, you know what? That's my thoughts coming out. But anyways, yeah, Theo, he was very much implicated in this whole thing, and now he's really trying to stay away from it because of all this negativity. Because I'm pretty sure his fans are really pressing him on this issue that, hey, bro, you fucked up by endorsing these people, and you made us, support him, support Ivanka's dad, and now look what he's been doing. He's been doing these horrible acts, right? Which apparently he said he was going to stop. But why would you trust a known liar?
Per year.
Me. I don't know if it feels to me like it's a genocide that's happening while we're alive here in front of our lives. And I don't, sometimes I feel like I should say something. I'm not a geologist or geographer or anything like that, so I don't know a lot of some of it I do know though. Like I know the basics of the issues over there, and I just can't believe that we're watching that and that more isn't said about it. And it's crazy because our country's also complicit in it, it's in it and has been for a long time. And it's just kind of interesting because then you just realize, oh, well, I'm a member of this country, but I'm just, what we want sometimes doesn't matter. And you just have to be a member.
You thought that because you supported somebody that you're going to change their minds about it? Is that your thought? Is that your thinking? Like how American Redact said, like, these are the modern day Socrates and and these philosophers, and they're going to be able to maybe persuade the president to stop the war and not do the things that he said he might not do because he's an honest guy.
Of a place, and your government is making other choices. So I don't know if I said that correctly or, yeah. So just praying for those people and just the grief that is all going to cause. You notice, like, what are we doing?
And I just want to say that this was a completely human reaction by Theo here, and it's good of him to say anything in order to make a dent and move the ball in the right direction. I just think saying this and then doing a complete 180, dining with Ivanka Trump and rubbing shoulders with the people who fund Israel is pretty contradicting of him. So guys, as more and more Austin assassins come out and visibly regret voting for Trump, it just makes you realize that these guys should have never involved themselves in politics in the first place. Since after all, they're just podcasters, with some considering them comedians. I mean, even my channel is now somewhat political at times, simply because I focus solely on these guys. Like, I've never intended to wade into these deep political waters, but here we are, B. And I am well aware that the comment section of this video is going to be an absolute war zone. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the auto filter that YouTube places on my videos right now, just so everyone can say whatever they want. So yeah, sound off in the comments on whatever your thoughts are on this whole subject, as everyone is entitled to their own opinions, of course. And as always, thank you so much for watching.
Okay, so here are my final thoughts about this is that these guys, I mean, at least they're acknowledging that they made a mistake, right? But the mistake was from the beginning for them to believe that Trump was this sort of game changer and he was going to do these amazing things, right? And if they aligned themselves with Trump, they might be able to change Trump and how he does things, or maybe, like, I don't know, maybe might be that sort of way, or maybe they thought that he was the guy that was gonna do the things that the Democrats failed to do, and they coped on it, and they just put on their blinders on, and they didn't hear about the negative things that Trump was gonna do, but they only just heard the positive things, and they fell in their own ego pool of them thinking that, or maybe also the money, like I said, the views and all the interactions, the comments and everything else, that this was the direction that the people want. People are tired of the Democrats and they want to change again, and the perfect change, or the only change maybe we only have, is Trump, right? And now they're seeing fully for like within 5 months, 6 months, this is the worst thing that has ever happened. And I think also the thing that made them speak out was the comments, the people that are criticizing them, and they hate criticism. Like my last video that I made, like comedians hate criticism, even though they love criticizing everybody else under the sun, and they only base their feelings on vibes, and they don't really look at the details and the policies and the minutia, or what do they call it, the nuances of politics, and then they go look at this sort of philosophical way of thinking, and it's not the way that it is, right? They've been duped by a president or a candidate at the time when Trump was there, that he was gonna be like amazing, or he was gonna do the right thing. All things considered, like, we have the history of what he has done, and until now, right? Like, did you not see the warning signs of this man not being an honest person, or just try to feed in to these sort of lies because he's trying to fool you into influencing your people that watch you to vote for him, right? It's always been that way, and you guys got tricked. Right? And this was a first-hand interaction that you guys got, because also you guys didn't even do your due diligence in pushing back on certain things, and you were just glazing up Trump, you're glazing up JD Vance, and didn't really like put anything else towards that. And now you guys have to respond to the mistake that you guys have caused, and hopefully you guys, like, I'm not gonna tell these comedians to like stop talking about politics, right? Because politics is an everyday thing. Honestly, we live on politics, and people that say, "Oh, well, I don't follow politics." Well, guess what? Politics follows you, buddy. Right? And this is a perfect example of it. But as of recently, as of what, like the July right now that it is, it's like everything Trump right now, it's terrible, and it's right now it's weighing these guys down, and their perception, they're being perceived as people that got fooled by a politician who they say, oh, these other politicians fool everybody else. But then now, since they got this POV version of it, and I don't know, they just can't handle that. But it's beautiful to see. I honestly think so. Maybe this will, give them a whole different perspective on approaching things, right? That ultimately will change your life, right? They'll change your life. And tax cuts, sure, you guys are rich. All these comedians are rich. They're gonna love that part of it, right? They love that part of it. But then on the other hand, they have friends, they have family that you see this from time to time, that these people and their families, they don't talk to them anymore because they just can't align with them morally or thought wise, or so they just get shunned from their families, vice versa, right? And with them, it's their audience, right, which is their quote unquote family, and they're seeing this sort of split that they're seeing from their audience, and it's really, really pissing them off, right? But anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go there. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like and subscribe. Follow American Redact for doing such a great video, and I'll see you guys for another one. Bye bye.